Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with the third installment of the Texas Gun Vault question of the week. This week's question, where I asked for your input, insight, comments, and votes, dealt with the NRA and the leadership under Wayne Lapierre. If you guys have been watching my channel for any length of time, you guys know I am not a big fan of the NRA. That doesn't mean I'm not a fan of the perceived mission many of the anti-gunners think the NRA has. I'm just not a fan of the NRA. I find them to be fraudulent, they're wasteful, and the people at the top, all they care about is power and money and not really advancing the Second Amendment. For me, if you're going to be an organization and a nonprofit specifically that is supposed to be advancing the Second Amendment, an enumerated constitutional right, you should be held to the highest standards when it comes to ethics and morality, when it comes to finances, having open books, the voting, and to have your members know what is going on. Well, we all know that the NRA does not allow that. Essentially, Wayne Lapierre is like the wizard in the Wizard of Oz. He lives behind a curtain. They seem to have a perception in the public of what the NRA does, and then behind the curtain, that's not what's happening. There's a couple things in my personal and professional life I absolutely hate: incompetence and nepotism, and that's all that has risen to the top when it comes to the NRA. So I asked you guys, now that Wayne Lapierre is being sued by the New York Attorney General and a judge has refused to dismiss the case, and he's going to be going to court, what do you want to see happen to Wayne Lapierre? The results didn't surprise me. I think the ratios of how many people voted for what did, but let's look at the results of this poll. The first option was Wayne is a 2A hero and should be the eternal leader of the NRA. Well, that got 1%. So because I think 543 people voting as of the time of me recording this means that at least 5 people voted for this. So that's cool if that's what you believe. I know that some people just believe the mystique that he is some type of amazing leader. I don't get it, but I guess it's your right to vote that way. Option 2, Wayne just needs to resign before the whole NRA fails with him. That got 28% of the vote. Wayne should be fired by the board of directors in order to fix things, 17%. Wayne should be perp-walked for betraying the NRA and their funds, 50%, and then something else, tell me in the comments below, 3%. Well, obviously the one that got the most votes is Wayne should be perp-walked for essentially mishandling and stealing the money of the membership of the NRA. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, now I don't want revenge. I'm not one of those people that thinks, we should enact revenge just because we're angry about something. I don't want to see people's livelihoods and careers destroyed. I'm all about justice. So I want to see what happens if all this stuff is true. Now, I tend to believe that it is true, but of course, Wayne is going to get his day in court. And he's going to be able to defend himself. For all we know, this has been a huge, big misunderstanding. And the media has blown this out of proportion. The Attorney General of New York has blown this out of proportion. But I can tell you from people in the firearms industry, people that have left the NRA, people that have gotten fired from the NRA, all the leakers, all the big-time donors that have come out, there's so much overwhelming evidence saying that what is going on, according to the New York Attorney General, is really going on. And things that have always concerned me when it comes to the NRA is how secretive they are. Look at their voting schedule, for example, that if you vote for the board of directors, all the votes are counted behind closed doors. They don't tell you the results. So pretty much they can put on there anybody who they want. And then they have a whole system where the board of directors nominates who gets elected to the board of directors. Therefore, it's nepotism. You're hand selected. It's not like just a regular member, lifetime member, whoever can run for the board. You have to be selected. And the members of the board are recommended by Wayne Lapierre. And so it just becomes this endless cycle that people always tell me, well, if you don't like Wayne, then vote him out. He's never on the ballot. Only the people that are on the board of directors, and only certain positions on that board of directors at one time are on the ballot, but they decide who's on the ballot. And then they count the votes in secret behind closed doors, don't tell you the results. And so yet people still think the NRA is the biggest and that's the organization we have to defend. I know they're corrupt, but just keep giving them money. I don't understand that mentality. I've always kind of equated it to people that are in abusive relationships. They just keep going back For some reason, just go away. Go do something else. There's many other organizations that are willing to fight the fight. We have the GOA, the FPC. You guys know all the Second Amendment Foundation. You guys know the long list of other organizations. They could use the huge amounts of money that the NRA gets because they're actually fighting lawsuits, going to every state, really lobbying at the state level, the federal level, that kind of stuff, where the NRA, they're fine just taking your money, going to the Bahamas, buying Wayne Lapierre suits, and they claim, oh, it's because I need it to lobby. I need it because I have to deal with politicians. I need a $50,000 suit and a $9,000 Rolex watch. You need to buy it for me so I can help defend your Second Amendment rights. And then after, 35 years as the executive vice president, well, what has he done? He'll claim, well, I've stopped gun legislation from being passed. Maybe, but what have you advanced? If I'm running a business and I'm on the board of directors of a company and a potential CEO comes in and says, I want to be CEO of your company and I'm going to raise the profits by this percentage. I'm going to sell this much a product. I'm going to get us out in the marketplace. I'm going to do this, and this. I'm going to advance the company. And then after 20 years as CEO, they come up for a contract renewal. And we sit there and go, okay, so you promised us all this stuff. You haven't done a single thing. But what have you done? And his answer is, well, the company's not bankrupt yet, is it? You would still fire him because you don't hire a CEO or a leader just to make sure you exist. You hire them to advance your cause. Now, I'm not saying that's all Wayne Lapierre's fault or the NRA's fault. I understand that we've had a lot of anti-gun politicians in power for a long time, and they've held the majority in Congress and state legislatures in various places for a long time. I understand it is an uphill battle. Totally get it. But if you can't do it, don't promise the results. Personally, I don't want revenge. But my instinct says there's something really rotten going on here. And if he is guilty, I do want to see him perp walked. I want him out there to have to publicly apologize. I want everything, all the books open to see where the money went, to see what organizations he was funneling money to, like Ackerman McQueen. We know there was the big scandal that happened there. I want to know about the $20,000 suits. I want to know about the $9,000 Rolexes. I want to know about the golden parachute, whether he resigns, or he retires, or he gets fired. He still gets like $17 million from the NRA. He was even trying to lobby the NRA to get to buy him a house here in Texas for like $5 million. Do you go to your boss at your job and say, hey boss, you need to buy me a house? No, you don't. There was something truly corrupt. And then they come to you and say, oh, what was us? We need the money to fight. Please give us your $30, $100. It's like these hedge funds going on right now when it comes to like the big GameStop trading thing. You have these multi-billion-dollar hedge funds that are essentially sucking the money dry from the little investors. Well, that's what the NRA was doing. Please, we need the money, please. And then people think, oh, I gotta do my part, because people in this channel and other people in the Second Amendment community, they love the Second Amendment and they want to feel like they're part of something. And they're like, you know what? I'm a little bit low on funds with everything that's been going on the past couple, but you know what? I'm going to donate that $100 because it's going to go to a good cause. We're going to fight these anti-gun laws and bills and executive orders. You send it to them, $98 of that goes to Wayne Lapierre's suits and travel to the Bahamas, and he'll claim, well, it's because I got to lobby. You got to treat me right, Otherwise, you don't want to lose that Second Amendment, do you? It's like extortion. It's like, paying money to the mob. They're not the mob. They're not the gatekeepers of the Second Amendment. The Constitution is. It is enshrined in the Constitution. They can't take it away. But anyway, I know I'm getting off on a little bit of a rant here, but that's my analysis of what's going on. Let's get to the top-rated comments. The top-rated comment this week comes from 19mm, who says, I don't want the NRA to go away. It is still the largest 2A advocate and the best known. Wayne needs to step down, admit his wrongdoings, and repay what he can. Next, the bylaws of the NRA need to be changed, given term limits to its leaders, and all finances need to be in the open. If this happens, I will support and promote the NRA. Otherwise, they need to die. And that, I think, is exactly the way that I feel. Do I want the NRA to die and go away? No, I want them to be strong. I want them to be the organization the anti-gunners think they are. But I want them to be effective. I want them to be open and honest with their membership. Next comment comes from Naji Osman, who says states should create local 2A associations. That's another comment that I completely agree with. I believe some other YouTubers were talking about this as well. I already know there's many state affiliations and organizations, and regardless of where you live, go check it out. I know here in Texas we have the Texas Rifle Association, I think it's called, but other states have their own groups. Go join them. Usually membership is $25, $30, and I can tell you, just being a member of the local Texas groups, I get so much information from them. They're constantly working, telling us about bills being proposed, what they're doing, who they're lobbying. It's awesome. And all that stuff is happening at the local level that seems to weed out all of the corruption and nepotism. The next comment comes from Second A Dad. I voted for the perp walk option only because, as someone in the community pointed out recently, as long as the NRA is the anti-gunner punching bag, focus isn't on groups actually doing good work like the 2AF or FPC. And I think that is really an interesting perspective on this, because if it looks like the NRA is going down and Wayne Lapierre, the big bad guy, is being perp walked and he's in the news, all the attention is on that, and the good work can be done by the other pro-2A organizations. That is a great idea. Not that I want to have an innocent person go to jail, but if Wayne's not innocent and is guilty, he deserves everything. He deserves justice, not revenge. All right, the next comment comes from Knife Tex, a good fan and friend here in Texas. He says, hire a psychic to have a seance with Charlton Heston and go with whatever he says. That's a good one too, as well. I'd actually be curious to see what Charlton Heston would say. Would he kind of be one of those establishment people? Or would he actually be honest to God pro 2A? We may never know. All right, and our final comment is from JTS, who says something else. Something that doesn't give him the millions of dollars that are in his contract. And I was talking about that too. His contract is this golden parachute. He gets like $17 million regardless of how he leaves the organization. And why would the board of directors do that? Well, he got everybody elected to the board, and the board decides who could run for the board. It's a big nepotistic orgy. And I'm sorry for being a little bit graphic there, but that's all it is. And they're sucking the money from the members and the people that can barely pay their $35 a year. They're sucking it dry. It's so sad. It is so sad that this organization got out of control like it is, and is where in the status it is, because they could be so strong and such a great advocate for the Second Amendment, and instead they're just floundering. So there you go. So that was a lot of great comments. I tried to respond to as many in the poll as possible. I know that some of you guys in the future were asking, or sorry, in the past were asking, in the future, can I please post a link to the new poll in the description? I will. So this week's poll should be out as soon as this video is published. Please check out the link in the description below and vote and comment. So there you go. So that was the Texas Gun Vault question of the week, number 3, on what to do with Wayne Lapierre. I really enjoy these because I get to interact with so many of my viewers and subscribers, and I kind of get to put my finger on the pulse of where you guys are on many of these Second Amendment issues of the day. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for participating in these polls. I love to hear from you. So as always, thanks for watching.